people like me. You need people like me so you can point your f***ing fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
De la noche, Serrano Piñeiro.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. Reigning undisputed featherweight and 7-division champion Amanda Serrano posted this image via her social media account.
There's a caption in there that reads, "Big news coming."
The image features Puerto Rico's own unbeaten up-and-comer Serrano Piñeiro, a fighter that we've talked about once or twice here on the channel, a promising fighter with a lot of personality and a very high ceiling, campaigning at or around welterweight. Welterweight, that's 147 pounds. That's where Jessica McCaskill and Sandy Ryan.
Those are the two champions at that weight, and that's where Stephanie campaigns.
Stephanie, one of Ring IQ's top prospects to watch in the year of 2023. There's a lot to like about this fighter, and you kind of get the sense, based on this social media post, that Amanda Serrano may be interested in helping to develop this fighter, it being that Stephanie, like Amanda, is a fighter of Puerto Rican descent. Who better?
Who better than Amanda to groom her, to help her out?
Amanda Serrano knows the business. Her experiences as a fighter, especially a female fighter, are not limited to just what she does under the hot lights in the boxing ring. She knows the business.
Amanda Serrano has done very well for herself over the years, and she'll have intimate insights into what it's like for a fighter, let alone a female fighter, to make it in this business, in this industry. Who better?
Who better than Amanda to help crown the next Puerto Rican sensation, the next Puerto Rican star?
De Carolina, Puerto Rico.
Amanda Serrano is. Young Stephanie is from Bayamón.
Bayamón.
It's only right. This could be a match made in heaven. This kind of a partnership with the added muscle that Amanda Serrano now has by way of Most Valuable Promotions and Jake Paul, all the work they're doing. They signed Jadeja Green.
One of the better fighters at 160 and 168 pounds.
And it's my understanding they actually mean to bring Tiaria Brown, unbeaten Tiaria Brown, from right here in the US of A. They mean to bring her into the fray as well. Stephanie would be a welcome addition based on this post. I just get the sense
Amanda wants to sign her, if she hasn't already.
big-time boxing is coming back to Puerto Rico. You think about fighters like Xander Zayas and Edgar Berlanga, Serrano Piñeiro.
Xander's with Top Rank and Edgar's with Matchroom.
I feel like very soon, Serrano Piñeiro may be joining Most Valuable Promotions.
Sporting a professional record of 4 wins with no losses, no draws, 2 recorded knockouts, standing in at a very statuesque 5'9". That's tall for welterweight.
Those are the kind of physical dimensions that could one day see Stephanie campaigning above welterweight at junior, middle, or middle.
Stephanie debuted as a professional in September of 2019. As you can imagine, when the pandemic hit the following year, that may have affected her ability to get fights and schedule fights.
She only got to fight once in 2019, once in 2020.
Didn't fight at all in 2021. She returned to action late last year in December and has already seen action once this year, so she's off to a decent start.
2 fights in the last 12 months, coming off a unanimous decision win over Argentina's own Yamila Esther Reynoso.
She's given 2 unbeaten fighters their first professional losses so far. Andrea Wright, Desiree Jameson. She stopped them both, knocked them both out.
She's coming off a unanimous decision win over Yamila Reynoso. It's actually a common opponent between her and Amanda Serrano.
Small world.
Serrano Piñeiro is no small girl. Given her generous physical dimensions, she could become a multi-weight champion with the right grooming. At 5'9",
She could possibly win a belt at welterweight, junior middle.
she's the goods. I've said it before, and if Amanda manages to bring her into the fray, I'll say it again. It's a match made in heaven. It's only right.
That could help bring attention to welterweight and junior middle that it doesn't otherwise get. A Puerto Rican fighter of Puerto Rican descent with a lot of personality and a lot of ability.
Last few years, most of the money at those weights has really been over there in the United Kingdom due to fighters like Natasha Jonas and Savannah Marshall.
The presence of a Puerto Rican fighter, just anywhere at or around those weights, would help get those divisions some attention here stateside. It could, at least in theory.
Helped make some waves. I'm just waiting for an official announcement because it looks to me like Amanda Serrano has brought Stephanie into the fray. In men's lightweight news, I'm sure that most of you have heard already. News broke late yesterday that Gervonta Davis was found in violation of his house arrest. Apparently,
he violated his 90-day home detention by serving it at the Four Seasons Hotel and a $3.4 million penthouse rather than trainer Calvin Ford's house, as the judge agreed.
This is why he's now been jailed. Davis's lawyer argued the house was too small for security staff, and I think that what Gervonta Davis must have forgot is that he's serving out a sentence. You know, your personal preferences and conveniences.
To be honest, it was a slap on the wrist.
A guy with as many run-ins with the law, not exclusive to driving violations. They let off Gervonta Davis pretty easy with that house arrest.
He could have killed those people.
He doesn't have a driver's license, you know, Gervonta Davis. He doesn't have a license. He slams into a car with 4 people in it, one of which was pregnant. He flees the scene.
And the most that they gave him was house arrest. House arrest.
So that he can violate that sentence by serving out the duration of the time at the Four Seasons. This self-entitled little prick.
He's a piece of shit, and so are his fans.
You lack the basic understanding to see that Gervonta Davis is no idol, is no role model. He's just a self-entitled little piece of shit.
Fuck him.
They should have threw the book at him is what they should have did.
Fuck him.
How anybody can support this little butterball is beyond me, though most of the support he seems to garner is due to his poor kid from Baltimore success story, though it's hardly a success when you really think about it.
Yeah.
How many run-ins with the law he has,
Yeah.
the violent nature.
This guy's got a thing for hitting girls.
In case you haven't noticed, and he's no child. He's, 28, going on 29 years old? No driver's license. Slamming into people. That could have been one of your family members.
There's too much about this guy that you expect people to look past.
Seems an irreprehensible human being outside of the ring. Inside of the ring, I've said it before and I'll say it again, he's not so great a boxer.
What, because he knocked out Ryan Garcia? What did you think would happen?
Any of those fights that he's had so far, what, you thought those guys were going to upset the apple cart for Gervonta Davis? You can't see how carefully he's matched. Well, maybe that's because you don't know shit about boxing.
He's matched baby soft to fool idiots like you.
Brainwashed sheep like you, so desperate for an idol, you're willing to look past all of this false idol's character flaws.
He's a piece of shit, and so are you.
Piece of fucking shit.
Fuck him.
Bad enough they only gave him house arrest for that whole ordeal. He was insistent he served the rest of it out at the Four Seasons.
Fuck him.
He'll be serving the rest of it out in the clink now, though in truth, the punishment just doesn't fit the crime from where I'm sitting, though Gervonta Davis, being the bumbling fuck-up that he is, I've no doubt
He'll get in trouble again.
this year, next year, because that's what fuck-ups do.
Yeah.
They fuck up. They periodically fuck up.
He's a fuck up.
And he'll fuck up again, because how do you fuck this up?
How?
How do you fuck up house arrest?
How do you do that?
You almost killed 4 people. All they hit you with was house arrest. How do you fuck that up?
Man's almost 30 years old. He still gets coddled like a child. It wouldn't surprise me if Calvin Ford wipes his ass for him.
Still wipes his ass for him. Gervonta Davis, in many ways, is everything that is wrong with boxing, and I'd go as far as saying everything wrong with society, because how does he get off?
All you gave him was house arrest.
All right, I've no stomach for this butterball, and I never have.
I'm not going to apologize for that.
Kid's a fucking scumbag. No respect for him.
Fuck him.
Piece of fucking shit.
Fuck him.
I'm not willing to look past how big a piece of shit he is based on what he does in the boxing ring, because being honest with you, what he does in the boxing ring isn't all that impressive anyway. Look at who he's fighting.
He knocked out Ryan Garcia.
So fucking what if he knocked out Ryan Garcia? I picked him to knock out Ryan Garcia.
Is that supposed to be some kind of monumental accomplishment? Was Ryan the best lightweight or the best super lightweight?
Get the fuck out of here.
On to the next piece of shit.
Ryan Garcia, De La Hoya get into heated feud. Ryan tells Oscar that he's tired of the disrespect. That's rich coming from him, a guy who made his bed but didn't want to lie in it.
He's been moaning about that rehydration clause that he chose to accept.
Fighter and promoter tussled back and forth on Twitter, adding yet another chapter to their complicated relationship. Earlier this week, Garcia stated that Gervonta Davis's team cared more about him than his own team, following his 7th round knockout loss to Tank in April. Following the fight, De La Hoya, Golden Boy cohort Bernard Hopkins, and former Garcia trainer Joe Goosen did not accompany the 25-year-old to his post-fight press conference. Instead, Garcia was joined by his father and co-trainer Henry, advisor Lupe Valencia, as well as Golden Boy Promotions president Eric Gomez, as well as Golden Boy public relations officials.
Tough love.
My honest opinion is that irrespective of what Oscar and Bernard might have said as to why they weren't there with Ryan,
In their mind, it was tough love. You made your bed, now you have to lie in it. Don't expect us to coddle you for decisions that you and Lupe made.
that's what I think they were thinking, though in reality, because you're gonna have to work with this kid moving forward,
You should have been there.
because the relationship isn't over. De La Hoya caught wind of Garcia's critical comments and clapped back. What the fuck, Ryan? It's been almost 2 months and you're still crying about the post-presser? The blame for your loss is on you and your advisor, Lupe Valencia. He is the only one who pushed you to accept that insane 136-pound catch weight and 10-pound rehydration clause. And that is the reason you lost.
That's it.
Man up and own it!
You little bitch!
Oscar called him a bitch?
No, I did.
Also, you keep saying Tank's team offered more support for you, blah blah blah. Bro, they set you up to lose with that rehydration clause, and more importantly, PBC head Al Heyman didn't even show up the entire week. Actually, he never shows up. So how's that for support?
A very valid point from Oscar.
And confirmation of what I always thought. Golden Boy perhaps didn't want Ryan to fight under those circumstances, but Ryan Garcia and Lupe Valencia would not let Golden Boy get in the way, even if what Golden Boy wanted was in Ryan's best interests.
He couldn't see that because he was stubborn and headstrong.
Stubborn and stupid. Garcia responded minutes later saying, "Okay, buddy, you've got it all figured out. I'm tired of you disrespecting my whole career, and you think none of it matters. Loyalty and common sense are lost in your head. Stop treating people that way."
Common sense, he said.
Common sense dictates that the rehydration clause that you're moaning about, it didn't come from Oscar, it didn't come from Golden Boy, it came from Tank's team, who you say treated you better than Golden Boy.
What are you, an idiot?
Ryan continued, "Stop treating people that way and think they will just accept it." Garcia also took exception to De La Hoya getting cozy with potential future foe Rolandio Romero over the weekend during a Golden Boy promotion show. "You know I'm about to fight this guy, Romero, and you go act buddy-buddy with him. You don't care about your fighters. I'm really tired of this fake act. Stop the cap. Be real for once, man. I can respect you more if you just told me the truth. You're in it for the cash. No love lost," wrote Garcia, to which De La Hoya responded, "It's called promoting. Who do you think sparked the Fight Week press conference for the Davis fight when it was like being at a funeral? My job is to promote. Your job is to fight."
No love lost.
Garcia quipped back, "Weren't you just promoting the fake Manny Pacquiao fight that I already told you I'm not accepting? Do you really think I'm gonna fall for that bull twice?"
Neither guy has the best track record. You know, Oscar's falling out with Canelo, Ryan's falling out with Canelo, and Eddie Reynoso, and Joe Goosen, now Oscar.
It's not now Oscar. They haven't had the best relationship from the get.
From the get-go.
This has been going on for something like 3 or 4 years. If you've been paying attention, my honest opinion is that Ryan Garcia is a very problematic fighter because unlike a lot of other fighters at this same stage in their career, he has a lot of marquee value. So he thinks he's got it all figured out.
He's got the tools, doesn't know how to use them, doesn't want to listen. He's headstrong, he's stubborn, he's problematic. Did he have to fight Gervonta Davis?
He wanted to, and in his own words, he would not let Golden Boy Promotions get in the way. And in the end, he got what he wanted, it just didn't work out. That's not Oscar's fault.
Should Oscar and Bernard have been there after the fight? Perhaps, because they have to maintain a working relationship with this guy. Though at the same time, they're probably losing patience.
Oscar said, "I'm not going to keep arguing over social media. When you have time to sit down man to man, we can get you another huge payday."
Oscar's got his faults, I'm not saying that he doesn't, but if Ryan Garcia finds himself moaning about the rehydration clause and how everything worked out, why Oscar and Bernard weren't there after the fight, it's because you made your bed and you don't want to lie in it.
That's what it is. If it were up to Oscar, you probably would have never fought Gervonta Davis. Under those circumstances, you and Lupe chose to go that route, not not Oscar, not Bernard, so don't expect them to coddle you and give you your baba.
You're not a little fucking kid, even though you act like one.
Here you have one of the biggest names the sport has ever seen. A guy who competed at the highest levels as an amateur and a professional. A bona fide box office draw.
I don't think that Oscar is perfect, but I think he knows how to groom talent. I think he knows how to groom fighters. He's done it before.
Been trying to do it with Ryan, but from where I'm sitting, it looks a lot to me like Ryan is the one that doesn't want to listen. Ryan is the one who thinks he's got it all figured out, and it blew up in his fucking face.
Fucking Gen Zers, man.
Let me remind you of something. That if Ryan Garcia and Lupe Valencia hadn't pushed to do this fight when they did, Gervonta Davis would have been up the creek without a paddle. His options would have been limited to just Rolly Romero or Isaac Cruz again, because you know he's not going to fight Devin, and you know he's not going to fight Shakur. You opened the door for all of this to happen by going along with this.
I know Oscar didn't want you to.
Being several years younger than Gervonta Davis and having time on his side, Ryan didn't understand he could use that to his advantage while he continued to develop. He doesn't trust the process.
He thinks he knows something that Oscar doesn't. He thinks he knows better. He's got it all figured the fuck out.
You often hear it said that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. I think Ryan Garcia is a talented young boxer that doesn't want to work hard. That old adage applies to him most.
He wants to skip steps.
You tell yourself that Ryan is a more talented boxer than, say, Rolly Romero, but Rolly Romero actually looked all right with Gervonta Davis, whereas Ryan, who's supposed to be more talented, he looked like a deer in the headlights. He looked out of place.
Why?
How is that possible if he's more talented than Rolly Romero? And it's because hard work beats talent when talent don't work hard. Ryan wanted a shortcut to a big fight that he wasn't ready for, and when he climbed into that ring with Gervonta, that's what we saw. That's what happened.
Ryan is another one of these Gen Z bozos, these young idiots that think they know something that their predecessors don't know. He thinks he's got it all figured out, and he doesn't, because he is having more success than the average young fighter.
So he's squandering his potential little by little, being as problematic as he is.
There's a legitimate argument that in spite of everything, Oscar and Bernard should have been there after the fight because they still have to maintain a working relationship with Ryan.
I don't know that he can buy out his contract. It's my understanding, based on inside intel, that he's still under contract with Golden Boy, and I don't know how much money he'd need to buy himself out. I'm sure that he'd like to leave. I'm sure that he'd like to go somewhere else.
So I don't think he can, not right now.
Trying to keep this kid in line has been frustrating for Oscar, for Bernard, for Golden Boy Promotions. This has been going on for something like 3 or 4 years.
Didn't all of a sudden start after the Davis fight.
So perhaps on the night they gave in to their frustrations and let Ryan deal with the aftermath.
This is what you wanted.
So you can try to cultivate sympathy afterwards by blaming it on them.
You fucking ingrate.
Ryan only has himself to blame.